The game's English name derives from the Balti language, from its word for ball, polo. It is cognate with the standard Tibetan pulu, also meaning ball. Although the exact origins of the game are not certain, many scholars suggest it most likely began as a simple game played by Iranic and Turkic equestrian nomads in Central Asia. It was developed and formalized in ancient Iran, Persia, as chavgan, becoming a national sport played extensively by the nobility. Women played as well as men. During the period of the Parthian Empire, 247 BC to 224 AD, the sport had great patronage under the kings and noblemen. According to the Oxford Dictionary of Late Antiquity, the Persian ball game was an important pastime in the court of the Sasanian Empire, 224 to 651. It was also part of the royal education for the Sasanian ruling class. Emperor Shapur II learnt to play polo at age 7 in 316 AD. Polo is a ball game played on horseback, a traditional field sport and one of the world's oldest known team sports. The game is played by two opposing teams with the objective of scoring using a long-handled wooden mallet to hit a small hard ball through the opposing team's goal. Each team has 4 mounted riders, and the game usually lasts 1 to 2 hours, divided into periods called chukkas or chukkers. Polo has been called the sport of kings, and has become a spectator sport for equestrians and high society, often supported by sponsorship. The progenitor of the game and its variants existed from the 6th century BCE to the 1st century CE as equestrian games played by nomadic Iranian and Turkic peoples. In Persia, where the sport evolved and developed, it was at first a training game for cavalry units, usually the royal guard or other elite troops. A notable example is Saladin, who was known for being a skilled polo player which contributed to his cavalry training. It is now popular around the world, with well over 100 member countries in the Federation of International Polo, played professionally in 16 countries, and was an Olympic sport from 1900 to 1936. Arena polo is an indoor or semi-outdoor variant with similar rules, and is played with 3 riders per team. The playing field is smaller, enclosed and usually of compacted sand or fine aggregate, and often indoors. Arena polo has more maneuvering due to space limitations, and uses an air-inflated ball slightly larger than the hard solid ball used in field polo. Standard mallets are used, though slightly larger head arena mallets are an option. Valuable for training cavalry, the game was played from Constantinople, where Emperor Theodosius II constructed a polo ground early in the 5th century, to Japan by the Middle Ages. The game also spread south to Arabia and to India and Tibet. Abbasid Baghdad had a large polo ground outside its walls, and one of the city's early 13th century gates, the Bab al-Halba, was named after these nearby polo grounds. The game continued to be supported by Mongol rulers of Persia in the 13th century, as well as under the Safavid dynasty. In the 17th century, Naqush-i-Jahan Square in Isfahan was built as a polo field by King Abbas I. The game was also learnt by the neighboring Byzantine Empire at an early date. A Sakonistarian stadium for playing Sakonyan, the Byzantine name for polo, was built by Emperor Theodosius II inside the Great Palace of Constantinople. Emperor Basil I excelled at it. Emperor Alexander died from exhaustion while playing, and Emperor John I of Trebizond died from a fatal injury during a game. Polo likely traveled via the Silk Road to China, where it was popular in the Tang dynasty capital of Chang'an, and also played by women, who wore male dress to do so. Many Tang dynasty tomb figures of female players survive. According to the Oxford Dictionary of Late Antiquity, the popularity of polo in Tang China was bolstered, no doubt, by the presence of the Sasanian court in exile. A polo-obsessed noblewoman was buried with her donkeys on the 6th of October 878 in Xi'an, China. An archaic variation of polo, regionally referred to as Buzkashi or Kokpar, is still played in parts of Asia.